Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, gold strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with Jessica Fishenfeld, actor, singer, and a host of Bagels and Banter. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, Deb. So great to see you.
I am excited to chat with you because, as many people know, there's nothing I like more than food and talking, which is like the ethos of, well, my show and your show. So we're definitely destined to meet. What is Bagels and Banter? And I mean, other than the obvious, and how did
Mhm.
it come about?
So, Bagels and Banter has been the result of a very organic journey that I've been on. So I'm a Jewish girl from Long Island originally, and then like lived in Manhattan for many years after high school and everything. And I went to college and my master's there. And I sort of took for granted the fact that we have the best bagels there. And, like, I always had my go-to place, like, always I knew where to go when I wanted a really good bagel. But then moving to Los Angeles 2
Mhm.
years ago, I was, like, in the mood for a bagel one day, and this was actually I know exactly what day it was. It was not this past February, but the February before that, Valentine's Day. My husband and I were just like, "For Valentine's Day, let's grab a bagel." And we're like, "Where do we go?" So we just found a place near us we live in Redondo Beach, and the closest place that looked like a good recommended place was Bagel Factory. And I just started, like, kinda filming it, and he thinks it was his idea, I think it was my idea,
Of course.
and I was like, "I should start I'm gonna turn this into, like, a little video review." And people just started, like, really responding to it, and I was like, "Oh, let me review, like, other bagels in the area because, like, I don't actually know where to go for a good bagel around here, and I might as well record it and, like, let other people know." And so I started doing these bagel reviews all around LA, and people were, like, really latching on to this and loving it, and then I was like I've been such a fan of Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and I love hosting and, like, I'm a people person, so I love talking to people and bringing people with me. Even with my reviews, I was, like, bringing a friend with me because 'cause I'm like, "I want their opinion too." And it just makes it more fun. And so I teamed up with a couple, directors, and they have, like, all sorts of camera equipment. We met on a commercial shoot, and we made this show, Bagels and Banter. That's kind of like the next level of my, like, little iPhone video reviews, like, more higher production value. I just, like, wanted my own show where I can, like, talk to people and talk about bagels, and it was like it just like it was this, like, organic creation that came about.
I love that, but you never answered. How was that bagel?
Oh, we got lucky on our first try. That it was like, Bagel Factory is on my Bagel Queen Jess approved list of bagel.
Amazing. And I totally get this. We're in different parts of LA, but we are the same. We love living here and the energy behind it. But the other thing that's great about LA or really anywhere is you can do anything with technology and see where it goes. With your background, I'm sure you're like, oh, good. I get my own stage. Was that pretty much it? Or
Much, yes.
am I transferring?
Oh, no, we're the same. We're the same.
Excellent. So what is the response been?
People are like they were genuinely so grateful to, like, have these bagels, like, brought like, my opinion of the bagels because I have these 3 categories that I review all my bagels in. I have texture, bagel flavor, and toppings. And it's, a little loosey-goosey, but sometimes, like, what I found in LA is that most of these, like, new wave bagel places, mostly the sourdough bagel places, will have these, like, elaborate toppings with heirloom tomatoes, and it's like this gorgeous spread. But I'm like, I need to get underneath that because my first line of judgment is the bagel itself. So I don't wanna be fooled by great toppings, and, like, that's why it has its own category, and it can affect the overall score, but I need to know what that bagel tastes like, if they're, like, cutting corners on that quality, if it's like, this could have been a sandwich, like a normal sandwich, or this could have been toast. Like, I need to know why you're making bagels, you know? And they have to be up to my standards to get a good review from me.
But what exactly makes a good bagel? What are those standards?
I think I'm very traditional. The New York style bagels are my favorite. I know a lot of people love Montreal style bagels and, these sourdough bagels. I love my favorite bagels are New York style, and they need to be crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside, and they gotta have, like, this, like, they gotta have its own flavor. It's, like, hard to describe exactly what that flavor is, but I've tasted some bagels that just, like, kinda taste like water, like, I don't know, like, they don't taste like much, but I need to, like, know that I could enjoy the flavor of this bagel on its own without any toppings.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
And what makes a bad bagel? You must have known I was gonna ask.
of course. I mean, I figured. Something that, like, resembles, like, a supermarket bagel where it's, like, just the same consistency from outside to inside, it's just, like, soft everywhere, like, spongy, uh Uh, I wanna say cold, but, like, sometimes a really good bagel will also be good cold. Um, what else? And just, like, flavorless.
I really wanna know, because you mentioned supermarket bagels,
Mm.
what made people think that that was a good idea? Because it is
Oh.
not a bagel.
Yeah, well, it all started I'm trying to remember the year, it was in the 1960s when, it was like Lender's Bagels was the first bagel company to distribute nationwide because originally bagels came from Poland. Polish Jews came and brought them to New York City in the early 1900s. And they formed a bagel union. And it was like this big, like the rough and tumble union. Like they like controlled New York City. And then the guy, but I'm trying to remember his name. His last name was Sender, but he invented what's his name? Daniel Sender, I wanna say. I have to fact check that. But, he invented the bagel automator, and it just allowed, like, the process to be quicker, but it didn't allow for the same, like, fermentation process, like, the thing that, like, really goes into, like, hand-rolled bagels and, like, just I think it, like, adds more flavor when it's, like, hand rolled and, like, allowed the right time and it's a smaller batch, but doing this mass production with these bagel automators allowed for bagels to be mass produced and sent all over America, and so on the plus side, all these other states in all across America were introduced to bagels, and so they could appreciate them, but they didn't necessarily know what that original, like, bagel quality was, and so I think, like, the standards kind of are all over the map now, but, there's positives and negatives that come with mass producing, but that's how we got the grocery store bagels because, like, Lender's Bagels was the first one to, like, be in grocery stores and get everywhere in the country.
So it's good because there's more bagel acceptance, bagel knowledge,
Yes.
but it's bad because they're not a quality. People don't know what they don't know.
Right. Exactly.
This is gonna sound so random. Do you remember the TV show Heart of Dixie?
I heard of it, but I've never watched it.
This is basically Rachel Bilson's character, ends up in Alabama. Fast forward a couple years, her New York boyfriend ends up in Alabama, and I just remember he would put a hole in his English muffin because they did not have bagels.
Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah. Okay, can we talk about bagel holes for a second?
I wish we would.
Okay.
Please.
So, I've discovered that there are all different methods of creating the hole. So, like, the most traditional method is rolling the hole, like, rolling it into a log, and then you twist it, and you twist it around itself, and you create the hole by, like, making the full circle. So that's, like, the traditional hand-rolled bagels. But there are more modern bagels that are made by just balling it into a ball and then hole punching the middle, and it creates a different texture. And, like, it's all the same, you see a hole, but just from the different methods of rolling it, you get, like, a slightly different texture. Like, the ones that you hole punch get to be, like, a little bit puffier, and they're usually, like I don't know if this is just, like, a correlation or a causation, but, like, they're generally smaller. They usually, like it seems like the hole punch bagel ones, like Pop-Up Bagels and Daniel's Bagels here tend to be, like, a little bit smaller, and the hand-rolled ones tend to be a little bit more generous with with their amount of dough that they use.
As someone who has made well, I love my air fryer, and I have there's a good recipe where it's, flour and self-rising flour and yogurt, and you mix it together, and you can make a bagel in the air fryer, and at least with that texture, it is impossible to hole punch because it's sticky.
Okay, interesting.
So you basically you have rolls, which is like a dollop of the dough, and you
Mm.
bake it, or you roll it out and put in a circle. And then the other part is, oh, that's how they got bialys. They were lazy and they didn't feel like trying to put it in a circle.
Yeah, that one they do ball in a ball, and I guess
Mhm.
that, like, the Ollies were, like, I think they even predate bagels because they were, like, from Bialystok, uh, Poland, and, yeah, they just ball it, and then they just put a little, like they compress the center, and then they add, like, some garlic and sauteed garlic and onion, and that's the center of it, but, yeah, so I don't know. I've learned more about, like, how the bialy, like, grew into the bagel, or if it was just 2 separate things always, you know?
Yeah, and I remember the Biala sticks as well. So they don't even need to be with the press center. I grew up in the Midwest. So like you, I came here and said, where are the bagels?
Yeah.
Ew. What impact do you think bagels had on your life, not just on the show that you created?
Gosh, it's been weirdly impactful on my life, like, since moving to Los Angeles, really, like, I grew up with bagels, but and I wouldn't say that they were just always there, they were a constant in my life, but since moving to LA, it's been a new way of, like, connecting with people it like, feeling like I'm serving my community in a way, and it's also, like, led me to, like, kind of deepen my Judaism in a in a strange way, just learning the whole culture behind it, like, I never really knew the history of bagels, I just ate them and enjoyed them at, break the fast and whenever I was in the mood for a bagel. And so just kind of getting into the history of these Jewish Americans bringing bagels to New York and like just understanding the culture more and how that relates to Judaism and it's kind of gone hand in hand and yeah, it's like it's been a really interesting layer onto my life.
I usually ask for a favorite or early food memory. Do you remember your first bagel food memory?
I wish I could say I did. Wow. Oh, well, maybe not my first bagel ever, but the first time I tried my favorite bagel place on Long Island, I do remember. It was, my boyfriend in high school, I was, like, staying over at his house, and his mom brought these bagels from New Hyde Park, from Hand Rolled Bagels, and I tried this bagel for the first time, and I was like, "This is like crack." Like, I don't even know like, this is, like, the best flavor I've ever had in a bagel. Like, they're a little bit on the sweeter side, like, just a tinge sweeter than other bagels that I had tried, and they were just, like, so puffy and big, and, like, the outer coating was just it was, like, leathery, but also crispy, and it was, like, a really nice contrast to the inside, and it was just, like, the most luxurious tasting bagel I had ever had, and I was like, "This I can never stop eating this bagel." It was like an awakening for me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what is your go-to topping, or do you not play favorites?
Well, usually okay, so I try to do a variety when I sample them, but my usual go-to is, tuna fish. Tuna fish in a bagel. I usually try to find, like I'll do, like, a veggie light tuna if they offer that. 'Cause I like to get my veggies in there and pretend like it's healthy. And tuna's protein,
I
but
love it. The
it's
healthy bagel.
yeah. Like a sesame bagel with tuna is usually my go-to.
And you are just this incredible font of bagel facts. So can you what are a few more things that people normally don't know or don't realize about bagels?
Let's see. Well, there's the proofing process that happens you after you make the dough. You don't just put them right in the oven. You have to wait, like, to do it the real proper way. You do what's called proofing the bagels, which is you, like, lay them on a tray all, like, stacked, like, with those, like, you'll see, like, in a kitchen, like, an industrial kitchen, all the trays of stacked things, and you put them in, like, a refrigerated room, and you just let them sit for some places do 24 hours, some places do 48 hours, and depending on how long you let them sit there and basically allow the yeast to kind of rise while they're in this cooling process, and the lactic acid builds up and it just gives it that flavor. Um, the longer you let them proof, like, the puffier the bagels are gonna be, and so, like, some bagel places love to have those, like, big puffy bagels, and some like to do a little bit, like, more narrow depending on what the taste is of the owner. Um, but, yeah, basically, the proofing process is, like, a huge deal that I didn't know about when I first started researching bagels. So, yeah, that's sort of like a in-house technique that everyone has their different processes for proofing.
And have you ever tried to make your own bagels?
Not at home, but, my trip to New York, for this past Hanukkah, I went to, this class with Bagel Up, which is run by, Sam Silverman, and he's bagel ambassador. If you look him up on Instagram, he's, like, the biggest, like, bagel guy in New York, and he runs a class that is like a make your own bagels class, and so it was really cool, really informative. We got to, like, use the facilities of, it's a bagel place in Midtown. I'm forgetting the name of it. Oh, Bagel Market. We used Bagel Market's kitchen. They basically rent it out to run these classes, and, yeah, we get to roll our own bagels, and, like, they teach us the technique, and it's like you see the progression of, like, "Oh, that one wasn't such a great roll," like, but they all taste great in the end. So that was my first experience, like, making my own bagels. It was really cool.
So is method bageling anything like method acting? And is that what you do as an actor?
Method bageling. I love that. Well, I mean, when I'm lucky enough to get some bagel gifts from shops, I do end up eating, like, a bagel a day when I have a big stockpile in my freezer. Um, so I don't know if that's, like, I guess, like, method acting, I would say, is, like, kind of acting like your character at home. And so when I have a lot of bagels at home, I will eat those bagels at home. And so I feel like I'm method bageling in that way.
In what way has your acting experience prepared you for this show, this life, this whatever?
I see. Okay. Well, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's like a chicken or egg situation. Like, I'm naturally a very outgoing person. And so that probably goes into the fact that I love being on stage and camera and acting, even though some actors are, like, very shy in real life. I'm not. And so, but I think, you know what? It definitely has prepared me for my bagel show because my improv training through acting, has just allowed me to, like, trust my instincts and trust that whatever is gonna come out of my mouth at any given moment will be the right thing, and that something will come out of my mouth at any given moment, and I'm never gonna be stuck. I can just go with the flow, and, like, that's improv, baby. And so improv has definitely, like, led into a lot of has helped my acting a ton and has also helped me be a good bagel host.
So everything informs everything else, and it uplevels the you that you are, that you love to be, right?
Exactly. Everything is just an everything bagel, at the end of the day.
Ooh,
Life is just an everything bagel.
you did that on purpose to give me a good quote. I appreciate that. In what way is life like an everything bagel?
Well, you like an everything bagel, you roll that dough into the everything and you just give it all you got and you pick up little things from here and there, and you kinda just see what sticks. Like, some things will fall off, and the things that are meant to be will stick to that dough, just like the things that are meant to be will stick with your life. And, um, there's little flavors from all different places, and the mixing together of them creates not only a great bagel, but a great life, you know? I don't like to think like I'm some my career is very confusing to people because I do so many different things, and I have so many different interests, so I feel like my life is the equivalent of an everything bagel.
I love that. This is so much. I love a good food metaphor, but also as a goal strategist, where I am in the business of telling people figure out what you love and do more of that and see in what way it impacts the rest of your life. I mean, you're just this perfect example of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do you also like to cook and bake on bagel wise?
I do, I do. I do a lot of cooking at home, and I love baking, but mostly I have, like, one go-to recipe that I bake.
And what recipe would that be? And why do you love this recipe?
It is banana bread, and I make several variations of it, and it's my mom's recipe that she kind of created from a recipe that she found in a cookbook years ago, but she kinda made it her own, and she passed it down to me. She would make this recipe, like, she would make this banana bread for me to, like, bring to school, and she would always give me, like, 2 pieces to bring to school, so it would be 1 for me and 1 for, like, a friend or a boyfriend or, like but, like, everyone at school would always be like, "Ooh, who she's gonna give the 2nd banana piece to the banana bread piece to." So, it became a whole thing, and it was just, like, everyone loved my mom's banana bread. Like, it won the competitions at school for the bake sale, like, such a good banana bread, and so, like, sometimes I'll do, like, a chocolate chip banana bread, or you can do, like, an apple walnut, or, like, around the holidays, I'll do, like, a pumpkin cranberry. It's very versatile because like, the base recipe is just the plain banana bread, but then you can add so many things to it. And, I love it because it's, like, a somewhat healthy thing. I figured out a way to make it with, like, as least sugar as possible while still tasting good. Because 'cause I'm, like, a health nut, but also with a sweet tooth. So it's been, like, my life's work to, like, satisfy my sweet tooth while still being healthy.
I see a sequel show, Bagels, Banana Bread, and Banter.
Oh. Oh my god, Deb, that never even occurred to me.
You are welcome. I love this. This has been so much fun. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, not only will you get the recap article from this conversation, you will get this everything banana bread from Jessica. Do you have any final food for thought?
Actually, yes. I have some advice for all you out there, all you bagel fans out there who are wondering how to properly store your bagels. If you have a large amount of bagels that you want to keep fresh. So you get your fresh bagels from the bagel shop. Maybe it's a dozen, maybe it's more if you're feeling crazy. Put them right in the freezer because you want them to be frozen like as fresh as possible. And then to defrost them, set your oven to I usually do 400 degrees, and you put the bagel in while the oven is heating up, so you don't even have to wait for it to heat up, and it will naturally heat up for about 10 minutes. I said it's 10 minutes, you cut it open, and you've got, like, a fresh tasting, feeling, crispy on the outside, gooey like, chewy on the inside bagel. So that's my advice to pass forward to all of you.
Awesome. Okay, Jessica, where can people learn more about Bagels and Banter and what else you are up to?
So Bagels and Banter exists on YouTube. It's youtube.com/@ bagels and banter, full words, all one word. And on Instagram, I'm Bagel Queen Jess. And for most of my acting and singing stuff, that's at Jeckafish. So that's like kind of everything. So I have some bagel stuff on there, but Bagel Queen Jess is my dedicated account for bagel stuff and shenanigans.
Because if you are going to be all in on bagels, why wouldn't you be Bagel Queen?
Exactly.
It sounds like it is the perfect fit for your love of bagels and your personality. So Congrats on that. It's been wonderful chatting with you. So thank you, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Deb, for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and or your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, you can get the recipes and read the articles that go with each episode. And you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Be at one with the bagel. Until next time, bon appetit.